Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm so excited for this Soul Chat interview that I'm going to share with you here shortly. And this Soul Chat interview is a near and dear topic to my heart because it is life changing. Life changing. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Q. And in this interview, he's going to share all sorts of different things about the Indian palm leaf readings, what they are, why they're important, his own journey with them. And before we jump in, I want to share a little bit about my journey with this. Back in 2019, I was traveling to Ireland and I was playing inside of the Akashic Records. And when I was playing inside the Akashic Records, they told me about an Indian library. And in this Indian library, I would get answers to some questions that my soul was desiring to have. And it wasn't until I met Dr. Q that I knew what they were talking about. And I didn't meet Dr. Q until 2024. So it took me 5 years to actually understand what the guardians of the Akashic Records were talking about. And it's funny because he wasn't even on my radar. I met Dr. Q at the Conscious Life Expo in LA in 2024. And my assistant was actually the one that introduced me to him because she was like, hey, you need to go learn about this um, palm leaf reading. And I'm like, palm leaf reading? Like, what are you talking about? And she goes, you just need to hear about it. And the second Dr. Q started explaining to me what it was and how they access the Akashic Records, I could see what the Guardians were talking about in 2019 and why it was so important for me to get a reading. I got a reading from his institute and it was life changing. Not only did they share information with me about my mom, my biological dad, my husband, my sister, my daughter, they shared about karma and where my soul was going and the type of work that I was doing. Also, at the time, I had just experienced a big financial burden. And so that even came up in the reading as well, and how to overcome it. And I thought it was like absolutely incredible. Also talks about health, talks about relationships, talks about karma. And it's one of those things where I personally think it's something, if your soul is calling you to do it, it will show up right at the right time. And when you're meant to receive that reading, because you might hear about it, but you don't take action on it, or there's a really long waiting list to actually receive the reading. When you hear about it and then when you actually get to receive the reading, it is in divine timing. It's on divine order with your divine plan in your aligned path. And the cool part that, and Dr. Q will talk about this in the interview, is the Maharishi prayed to Lord Shiva thousands and thousands of years ago and made predictions. And I don't like using that word because it's all in divine order and it's to be of service and to be of assistance. And it's up to you on how you want to use the information. But they made these predictions, these assisted readings for a certain amount of souls. And they knew that when you wanted to receive a reading, that you would receive it in divine timing. And the information that's in the reading, and I'm a reader, like I'm shocked by it. Like I'm so impressed by it. And I had to share it. And I've been asking for Dr. Q to come on and share his wisdom for quite some time. And so I'm really excited for you to hear more about the palm leaf readings and about his institute and about his journey because it's incredible. It is a history lesson that I think is really amazing. Another thing I want to share before we hop into the interview is I've always been connected in some way, shape, or form to Indian history in some way. When I first started my path was guided to do yoga, and that's where it started. And then once I started doing that, I wanted to learn how to meditate. And that led me to my first teacher, which then led me to my second teacher. And my second teacher was very, very, very into the Hindu gods and goddesses, into Ayurveda, into the Vedas, into yoga. And this is where my love for the beautiful Indian Hindu gods and goddesses are. And I want to emphasize that when I met my second teacher, it was to do Reiki. And the first time, I've never did Reiki before. And when I did this attunement, I ended up receiving guidance and connection to Lord Shiva. I've never met him before. My teacher never talked to me about him. When I was getting my attunement, I met him. And so when I did this Indian palm leaf reading, and I heard that the Maharishi prayed to Lord Shiva, it brought so many things that I experienced throughout my lifetime together. And you might be going, Amy, I'm not into Hindu gods or goddesses, or I'm not connected to yoga in any way, shape, or form. That's okay too, because wherever your path is, there's a reason why you're going to be listening or watching this episode. And it doesn't matter if you're connected to those things or not. There's a message in here for you, and there's some sort of history that's wanting to be understood, or seeds are being planted today for you. Whatever the case is, if you're being guided to receive an Indian palm leaf reading from Dr. Q's Institute, you can click the links in the show notes, in the show descriptions. If you're just wanting to learn more about it and read more about it, you can also check out his website. He also has a YouTube channel as well. We'll share that towards the end of the episode, but I'm really excited for you to meet Dr. Q and to dive into this Soul Chat interview together. So let's jump in. Hi, Dr. Q. How are you?
Hello, hello, and most lovely good evening from Europe. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm very excited to share the little that I know about Nadi Shastra, or Indian palm leaf reading.
I love that you said little that I know, because you know a lot. However, it's an endless possibilities of what you can discover on what was revealed many, many thousands years ago that we're looking at now, right?
Yes.
Tell everybody what you do and what Indian palm leaf readings are.
Okay, so first of all, in case you haven't noticed, I'm a white guy. I'm not Indian, and yet I do something that is intrinsically connected to Southern India in particular. I do not know if your awakening tribe has been to India or not, but India is a big, big country. And it has one unifying language apart from English, that would be Hindi. And the state that this comes from is Tamil Nadu. And Tamil Nadu is the southernmost state of India. Kind of like California being on the west coast of the United States, Tamil Nadu is on the east coast, the southern most tip of India. It's also elongated, and they're Tamil people. And Tamils, there are 85 million Tamils that live in that one state alone, so it's twice the size of California, if you wish. And they speak their own language. That's the only state in India that does not speak the common language called Hindi. So even an Indian visiting Tamil Nadu is a foreigner. They would have to revert back to English or Hinglish, Indian English, to be able to communicate. So whoever visits Tamil Nadu, that's like the core land of India, and Tamils are very proud to say that that's most likely the beginning of Indian culture, and the rest came later. So how come a white guy, simple guy from the West, ended up doing this? I, like most of you, have gone through challenging times, and my biggest challenge in life has always been health. So I've spent more time in hospital than almost anyone that I know. I'm talking months and months and months over many, many years. And that's, on one hand, a good thing, because it put me on the trajectory, me trying to explore what does not meet the eye. It put me on my spiritual trajectory. So that's a good thing. The bad thing is, if you wish, the challenging part is I suffered a lot. So my mom's Austrian. She's blonde and blue-eyed, as beautiful as you are, Amy. And my dad is Persian. So I grew up in Iran when the country was not yet so screwed up as it is today. And my father is Baha'i. He's not Muslim. And Baha'is is a minority religion. When the revolution happened, some of you might be mature enough to remember 1979. There was a revolution, the Islamic Revolution, that caused mayhem to not only Iran itself, but the world. And we've been suffering from it ever since. We had to flee the country, period. That was in August of 1979. Yours truly, me, was raised with a golden spoon in his mouth because my dad was very wealthy. But overnight we became paupers because he acted too late when the revolution happened, and we just had 2 suitcases and we had to flee the country, August 29, 1979. We ended up in Austria because my mom's Austrian, and my youth was spent in that country. So I do know how it feels to be very wealthy with chauffeurs and nannies and all the rest of it, but I also do know how it feels to be a refugee and have no money at all. We are all cramped into one small apartment, and my mom became the breadwinner, and she did a magnificent job, and I love her for that even more. We're very, very close even today, and I'm very grateful that she's still alive. In 1986, so I do a little bit of a jump. I'm telling you all this so you understand that I can relate to you. I really can. And when I did my healing, health coaching education, the teacher kept saying only a wounded healer is a good healer because he can relate to the people that he tries to help. And trust me, I'm very wounded. So in 1986, a little time jump, the biggest nuclear catastrophe in the world's history happened, known as Chernobyl. That was in April of 1986. And at the time I lived in Vienna, Austria, which is the capital city of Austria. The nuclear cloud traveled 1,500 miles and dumped its nuclear waste over Central Europe, and Austria is in Central Europe. And as a result, yours truly got cancer. I was in hospital for 3 years, 6 months as an inpatient, so a very long time, 1,000 needles up my veins, surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, you name it, the whole 9 yards. So at 16, when I was admitted to hospital, I said, God, why me? I mean, I'm a kid. No, I haven't really done anything. And yet I've already survived the revolution where they shot at us. We had to hide, to be able to get out of the country. And now I got cancer. And I saw people die in my room. I was in a cancer ward in oncology, hematology. But 3 years later, when I was 19, my head physician that looked after me, who is now like a second mom to me, she said, you're good to go. You're in remission now. And that's the same time when I said, God, why me? I mean, how come I survived and many other poor souls that I shared the hospital for 3 years with did not? And that was the beginning of me wondering if there is something out there that does not meet the eye. And I realized already at a very tender age that there indeed is, and that everything, reality, time, I don't know, however you want to call all the big blob out there that we perceive as reality happens in here. And that is when I started my spiritual journey and started digging and going deeper down the rabbit hole. Little did I know at the time that the deeper you dig, the bigger the rabbit hole gets. There is no end to it.
It's far and wide.
It's far and wide, and there is no end to it. And you're like, oh my God. Would I have started the journey had I known that there would be no end? Yes, no, I do not know. But anyway, so here I am. I pursued, of course, also a regular career because I had to, do that. Had I not had cancer, I most likely would today be a physician because I come from a physician's family. Almost everyone in my family is a physician. But 3 years in the hospital as a teenager taught me to not voluntarily set foot in a hospital ever again. So that was a no-go for me. So I became an academic. So Dr. Q is not a stage name, really. It was bestowed upon me by my friends and students when I got my PhD as an academic. And I ended up being an academic at a university, also to realize that all the red tape that goes behind the scenes, which is unnoticed to everyone who goes to university, is mind-numbing. And at the tender age of 29, I was already a doctor at the time. I said, you know what, not for me. I don't want to waste my time, because 80% really is red tape, and it's just not for me. 20% of it, teaching the kids, I mean, the future adults of society, was very rewarding, but it was not big enough of a chunk for me to continue. So I turned my hobby into my profession and started a travel business. And I've been in travel since teenage years. I've traveled more than 100 countries. I've been almost everywhere you can possibly think of. Amy knows me a little bit, so you know that I constantly travel. I'm on the road. And in the meantime, of course, I continued digging deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole. I did. I spent time with shamans in the Amazon, tried, all sorts of shamanic medicine, if you know what I mean, did Vipassana, silent meditation. I did Reiki healing. I did, I don't know, Akashic records. I did rolfing. God knows, I did it all. Group therapy, individual psychotherapy. I just wanted to know what's hidden behind the veil that I cannot see, and yet I know it exists. So in 2013, I caught a virus, which almost killed me, and I wasn't aware of that either. At that time, I'd met my girl in Hungary, so I moved to Hungary, and now I'm talking to you from Budapest, capital city of Hungary, which is just next door to Vienna, Austria. And I used to live in the US, by the way, so my travel business was in the US and everything, and then I moved here. And you met Emma too at the expo. So I came here, and as you know, I'm pretty fit, very fit actually, because of my sickness or sickliness. I try to be fit and do a lot of sports to maintain a healthy body and mind. I caught a virus, and we went jogging, Meshi and I. I couldn't keep up with her at all. I was sweating, huffing, puffing, and she said, this doesn't look good at all. Then I developed a high fever that night. She said, look, this doesn't look good. I'm going to put you on a train and send you back to Vienna, which is only 3 hours away. And you go and get checked at your cancer hospital. I said, okay. So 7 o'clock, I'm in the train, go there, already have fever, chills. I walk into my hospital. If I say my hospital, I mean it in a very endearing way, because everyone knows me. I spent a long time in that hospital. And when I go there, of course, they know me. Of course, I know everyone, all the nurses and all the physicians, everyone. So I get VIP treatment, if you wish. And they said, oh my God, Dr. Q, what's going on? I said, I just do not feel too good. And my girlfriend said, I need to come and get checked out. I said, sure. And they checked me out. And they sent me to the cardiology department. And the head of cardiology checks me out and says, oh my God, he says, that you're alive is a miracle. I said, what? Yeah, you have myocarditis, he said, and you've got water in your heart sac, you got pneumonia, water in your lungs, you are, that you can walk is a miracle, he said. I was like, really? In 3 days after flight to Frankfurt, can I do that? I remember him shouting into my ear. He said, Dr. Moed, I don't think you understand. You are very, very sick. That you're alive is very lucky. So he said, you have to stay here. That's it. So I stayed, and that night I collapsed. So in reality, Meshi, my friend, whom you know, she saved my life. Had she not put me on a train, me going to that hospital, collapsing that day, I might not be here today at all. So I'm in hospital, and it was so bad. I reached 107, 8 Fahrenheit. Don't shoot me. Celsius is 42 centigrade. Huge, like you're in a delirious state. You do not know if it's morning, evening, Wednesday, Sunday, whatever. I sweated 4 or 5 liters of sweat. And they shoved me into the ICU. I was in the ICU for quite some time. And they told my mom, either he survives or he doesn't. There is not much we can do about it. All we can do is sedate him, pump him up full with antibiotics. It's a virus, so antibiotics don't really help, but it helps with the mayhem, the side mayhem of the virus. And then after a month, I was released. And as they shoved me into the ICU, I said, God, why the hell me? I don't understand this. I don't. So while I was in the ICU, my girlfriend came, Meshi. She washed me. Very humbling experience. I'm telling you, I could not move at all. I could not move. She washed me. And then I said, Meshi, I have no idea why this happens to me all the time. And she said, it might be karma, might be karma. Because I think this lifetime, I'm a pretty nice guy, really. I'm not after money. I don't want to own anything. I'm here to help people. And she said she heard about what we now call in empowerment reading, because she heard you can clean your karma doing this. I said, wow, sign me up. She said, actually, I told you about this a year ago already. I said, no way you did. She says, yeah, I told you about it. And now that I shared a little bit about me, myself with you, I'm a sucker for anything spiritual, really. You tell me, I'll do it. That I did not hear what you told me was like an awakening. Now I realize either you're ready to hear it or you're not. It's as simple as that. Either it sinks in or it doesn't. So second time around, I was ready to hear it. And I said, you know what, Meshi, if I survive, if I come out of here, then I'm going to go and get a reading. And obviously I survived it. Otherwise I wouldn't be here today. That month in hospital left me with a gift too, eternal stiffness, incurable. I have myofasciitis, fasciitis, chronic fasciitis I have now. If you do not know what it is, it's the fascia or the nets around your bones and muscles, and there's lubrication between so you can move your body. I was stiff as a board. It took me 6 years, super painful therapies to crack me open. Because my brother, who is, of course, a physician too, he said, and he's an orthopedic surgeon, lucky me. He said, brother, he said, either we somehow crack you open or you'll be stiff for the rest of your life, like you'll be a cripple, you cannot move at all. Or we have to cut you open, every single fascia, and you'll have 10,000 surgeries coming up. So I said, no, not a good option. So I opted for 1,000 hours. Of course, at the time, I did not know it would take me 1,000 hours of very painful, any type of therapy to crack me open. Now I can move again. It's all good. But do I have still pain and stiffness? Yes. Can you see it on my face? No, you cannot, because it's all in the mind. I don't allow it to rule me. And I also don't take any painkillers. Otherwise, I would be addicted to painkillers. That's guaranteed. So here I am. I try to be a role model and inspire everyone, because if I can do it and I'm just an average guy, then you can do it too. It's as simple as that. So I had a reading, and the reading obviously blew my mind. It was wow. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And in a by sentence, the reader, the Indian guy said, "Oh, and by the way, you're going to bring this to the West." And I was like, "What? I'm a white guy. Look at me. I have nothing to do with India. I mean, I love Indian food. I love spicy food, and I do yoga, of course, for decades, and meditation and all the rest of it. But I have no connection apart from me traveling and enjoying certain Indian things at all with India." So it went in one ear and out the other, really. I did not go there, get a reading to bring this to the West. I just wanted to get my karma cleaned so that I would not end up in hospital again. And yet, as enthusiastic a person as I am, I shared my experience with everyone that I knew. And I said, oh my God, you have no idea what's going on in India. It's called, Nadi Jyotish, Nadi Shastra. These are the words that they use. And I realized they have no clue what it means. So I created the term Indian palm leaf reading. And now I'm answering the question that we started off this conversation with. How come I call it Indian palm leaf reading? I try to give it a literal meaning. So people, hopefully, when they hear it, they can connect it to India, because this is Indian palm leaf. So hopefully they don't say tea leaf or ask me to read their palm. And yet still, trust me, I get messages left, right, and center. Tea leaf reading, can you read my palm? And the only answer they get from me is like, dude, read what I do and then send me an email. And reading that it's some sort of a reading. Okay, so that is why we call it Indian palm leaf reading. But in India, of course, no one calls it Indian palm leaf reading. The best term to use would be Nadi Shastra. Nadi has many meanings. Nadi means pulse, for example. You're a yoga teacher too, so they use nadis in yoga as well, energetic streams in your body. So representing life. It means leaf. It means seeker. That's the person who seeks the information on the leaf. So Indian palm leaf reading. But it also means the exact moment in time when the message is divulged to the seeker, not a day before, not a day later. So that is the perfect nadi. That's the time in space where the message reaches the seeker. And the rest is history. I shared my story with everyone. They wanted to get a reading. And I said, okay, let's go to India. And that is when I realized that for most Western people, India is a no-go zone. For some Western people, it's a magnet. They go to ashrams and they, I don't know, travel through India and spend some time there. But in reality, and I'm in tourism, I've been almost everywhere. To most Western people, India is a no-go zone. They're scared of it. It's the food's too spicy. I don't know. The weather's too hot. It's a lot of poverty too. And if you have never been to India, it is not easy to be in India really for a Western person. And so I then thought, okay, if they don't want to go to India, maybe we can do it online. So I asked around, and the very first readings we did over Skype. And now Skype doesn't even exist anymore. I do not know if you know or not.
Oh, I used to use Skype. So
they shut down Skype. It's finished. It doesn't
that's
exist
good.
anymore.
It never worked.
It never worked. Anyway, so just telling you, how things evolved, in the old days. And I was sitting in every reading with friends and family, because I also realized if they don't have a guide, like a wingman, a person like me to hold their hand and guide them through it, they'd be lost. They wouldn't understand the Indian accent, the Indian English or Hinglish, in a loving way. It's a very heavy accent, and if you're not used to it, you don't understand anything. I remember me in the first reading, I thought I spoke English pretty well, but holy moly, I had to ask every sentence to be repeated 3 times for me to understand the interpreter, not the reader. The reader doesn't speak any English at all, the interpreter. So I knew it would be a challenge. So I was sitting in every reading. I was helping them understand the English. And even though I didn't have a guide like now people have in my institute, helping them understand the reading, I fundamentally understood the message because I've done a lot of spiritual work beforehand. So I knew right away I cannot take it verbatim. It's a guideline. There are certain things that I should take verbatim. So all these things I somehow understood the concept of without further help. But then when I did it for other people, out of just pure good karma work, I realized, oh, wow, they take it verbatim. No one's life is set in stone. That's the very first thing I need to clear right away with everyone. No one's life is set in stone, period, or written on a leaf. It cannot. If it were, then you and I and everyone else would be just puppets. And I refuse being a puppet. I believe in free will and choice. How much free will and choice we have, that's debatable. We can talk about it in a different podcast, but I believe in it. Otherwise, there is no reason for us to be here in human form, to make choices, whether good or bad, that's a different question, to have a choice. And a reading is meant, in one simple sentence, to help the seeker create a better life trajectory for themselves. Better, whatever better means to you. To me, very simple. No more tubes down my throat, no more needles up my vein. Simple. To some other people, it means getting married, having children, more money, being in a meaningful job, environment, friends, move, whatever. Better, and not to be taken verbatim. It's a guideline, it's a compass. It can only show you the water, but you, the seeker, the one who receives the message, through your own actions and thoughts, can maneuver your ship in the direction that you want, so that you can lead a better life for yourself in calmer waters, more fulfilling waters. So I was in all these readings and I realized, holy moly, I cannot let them just talk to the Indians on their own, because there will be mayhem. And since I'm the person brought them together, they will be coming back to me with 10,000 questions. So I said in every one of them, help them understand the Indian English, help them understand the deeper meaning of a reading. I was just learning by doing, trying to make it easier for people, condensing it, making it simpler in simpler language. And after some time, I was talking to Mesh. I said, man, I'm now helping people that I don't even know who they are. It's friends of friends of friends. It's like, holy, what the hell? I have a real job, mind you, I have a real job, and I work, continue working still today, still doing that job. Because what I do here and talking to you today, and I know people call me crazy, I still do this as pure good karma work. I haven't made a single dollar doing what I'm doing with the Institute. And then I said, then I remembered what my first reader told me, because I had 2 readings so far. He told me, you're going to bring this to the West. I said, oh my God, not intentionally, but just me sharing my experience with people brought them to this, and they want to get a reading. And 10, 12 years ago, something like that, we created an institute. So the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute has been up and running ever since. And we've been coming to the Conscious Life Expo, and that's how we met. In the early days, I met someone who referred us to the Conscious Life Expo. And then I realized, holy moly, the prediction, at least the suggestion, because it's not set in stone. I could have said no to it, because nobody was holding a gun against my head saying, you do this or we're going to kill you.
Right.
No, it just evolved, and then I embraced it, and here we are many years later. So that's subconsciously embraced that prediction, or the possibility. That's the best way of the best word to use. I embraced it, and here we go. And that is how I ended up doing what I'm doing today. Many, many, many years later now, and thousands of readings later, who would have ever thought? Certainly not me. Where we have a foundation helping the poor in India, where we support different orphanage through the readings. Everyone who comes to us to get a reading indirectly supports an orphanage in India too. You can find all the details on our website. So why I do what I do is helping the world become a better place, one reading at a time, just one reading at a time. If I may go back to these Maharishis, they wrote these leaves to help the seeker create a better life trajectory for themselves, better. And if I now may go a little deeper, the rabbit hole, so people understand.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to, with the
yeah, of course.
Maharishis, can you, which you're probably going to address this, let everybody know like when it begun and like what.
Of course.
Yeah. So.
Of course. So this is what I bought at a temple in a town called Vaitishvaran Koil. So for those of you who are just listening to this but not watching it, I am holding up a picture of 18 Maharishis. Maharishi means great sage, Maha, great, Rishi, sage. There were hundreds of Maharishis who over thousands of years wrote leaves. We're going to go deeper into that too. But 18 of those we call the main rishis, the main Maharishis or siddhars. And depending on which lineage you go with, the names change. But for the most part, it's the same names. And the most important Maharishi is Maharishi Agastya, the guy in the middle. And he's not only a Maharishi and one of the 18 main rishis who wrote leaves, he's also one of the Sapta rishis. You being in yoga, maybe you've heard of the Sapta rishis, the 7 main guys of Indian mythology, and he's one of them. His name is Maharishi Agastya. He's like a GP. He wrote the most leaves. Usually, if you get your first reading, we would look for a book or bundle written by Agastya. Time frame, God knows, because there is no actual chronicles or written evidence. It's all through word of mouth. Goes back 7,000 years, maybe, give or take. We do not know exactly. And these Maharishis and the epicenter of Nadi astrology, Nadi Shastra, Nadi astrology, Nadi readings. There's so many terms you can use. Vedic is a sub-branch of Vedic astrology. And Vedic astrology, by the way, is the modern terminology for Indian astrology or Hindu astrology. But in the 60s and 70s, when Ayurveda, because you're an Ayurvedic practitioner too, I guess you know that anyway, Ayurveda became hip in the West, it was like a well-kept secret from India. And then all the Western people went there, brought it back to Europe and North America. And then some smart people said, oh, we're going to rename Hindu astrology, which might sound too scary for the West, to Vedic astrology. So they connected Indian culture with Ayurveda, Indian astrology with Ayurveda, gave it Vedic astrology. Now everyone calls it Vedic astrology. Going back to the Vedas, and I don't want to go too deep into Indian stuff, but the Vedas are like the foundation of Indian wisdom, hence Ayurveda, hence Vedic astrology. So there were hundreds of them, hundreds of these Maharishis, and the epicenter is Vaitishvaran Koil, and Vaitishvaran Koil is roughly in the center of the state called Tamil Nadu. It's a town, and you have also the main Hindu temple there, so you can go and visit if you want to. But of course, over the millennia, people traveled, so these leaves, bundles were taken with them, and nowadays it's not just in Tamil Nadu, but it's all over India. You can also go to Delhi and find some Nadi readers. You can go to Sri Lanka, because there are Tamils in Sri Lanka too. You can go to Bali, there's some bundles there too. And I need to also be super honest and frank with you too, because I get so many emails, oh, I much rather would do it in person there. What you get from me is, oh, good luck. Good luck. It's very tough to share, but it's the reality. I need to protect everyone here too. 80%, the vast majority of readers are fake. I need to be super honest with you too. Even an Indian who goes from a different part of India to Tamil Nadu, 80-90%, like the vast majority would sell you anything for a quick buck. I'm telling you. So you got to be super, super cautious. And
similar issues in Peru too, when people are doing ayahuasca.
The ayahuasca, oh, of course, man. They sell you anything they want, you know. I've been to Peru and I've done many times too. They mix cocaine with it. They do make you, oh my God, it's just crazy.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. But what people do just to make a quick buck, it saddens me big time, because I'm to the core an ethical human being, and to see someone doing something sacred as this not being as ethical, at least as me, you know, I would presume them to be even more ethical than me, but regrettably, that's not the case. So you got to be careful. That's the short of it. You got to be very careful. So I spend a lot of time and a lot of energy to find the real ones, which is not so easy. Trust me, it isn't. It takes a lot of effort and test readings and double check-in and triple check-in and talking to others to then know exactly if that guy is the real deal or not. So it's Vaitishvaran Koil and the neighboring towns, Chidambaram and so forth, even the capital city of Chennai, which has 15 million people in the state of Tamil Nadu. You can find decent ones there, but you've got to search for them. Now, so they said in meditation, meditated to primarily the ultimate god in Hinduism, Shiva, and his wife Parvati. It could also be other gods like Vishnu or their son Ganesha or so, but primarily Shiva and Parvati. And then with their help, and you're an Akashic Records expert, tapped into the Akashic Records, downloaded the information, and then telepathically dictated that to the message to their disciples. So Agastya himself didn't write it. He told his disciples, and they wrote it on dried palm leaves, hence Indian palm leaf reading. You got to think back again, 5,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, people couldn't read or write. Only the elite could read or write. That would be priests or royalty. That's it. No one else could read or write. 2, there was no paper. There wasn't. So the Maharishis in their great wisdom said, how can we conserve and preserve this information? Ta-da! What do we have in abundance in India? Gigantic palm trees with gigantic leaves. They're different to the ones that you're used to in the United States. I know that because I live most of my life in the US too. So these are gigantic leaves, and they cut them into pieces of about 10 inches-ish, 10, 15 inches. They're not standardized, about an inch or two wide. What they did at that time, they didn't use any ink either, or henna, or any of that. They used a sharp pencil, cut these big leaves into these stripes, and then etched the information onto a fresh leaf, which was still green. And when it dried up, became brittle, you know, dark, the etchings came through. And that is how they preserved information in India in the old days.
Incredibly smart.
It's amazing, huh? So not just Nadi astrology stuff, but also legal stuff, Ayurvedic stuff, since you're an Ayurvedic practitioner, yogic wisdom. So all of these things were preserved and written on dried palm leaves. And then the Maharishis in their eternal wisdom said, well, nobody knows how to read or write apart from the priests and the elite. So how can we then connect a leaf to a person? Again, ta-da! your thumbprint, because everyone's thumbprint is unique. Easy. That means even today, 5,000 years later, we do the exact same process. And now I'm coming deeper and deeper into the actual thing. So this I brought for the audience, which you have seen in person
Yes.
at the expo. This is a prop, but in the old days I had a physical, real one, and I told people, please don't touch because it's a real one. What do people do? First thing they do is they touch, and I said, you know what? I cannot do that. So I created a prop, made out of plastic. This is a so-called Booker bundle, and in a Booker bundle, there are up to 108 individual leaves. The number 108 is a very holy number in Hinduism, and these are individual leaves, and these are copies of an actual bundle with actual leaves, okay? And I'm holding this into the camera, and these leaves are written in a dead language called Granta, or ancient Tamil. Doesn't exist anymore. Today, they speak in modern Tamil. Modern Tamil and ancient Tamil are kind of like modern Greek and ancient Greek. Today's modern Greek person doesn't read, write, or understand ancient Greek. It's a university degree to know ancient Greek, even though modern Greek roots in ancient Greek. Same thing with Tamil and Granta. It roots in it, but it has evolved. So that's written in a dead language. Disciples, touch them together, and then they put similar souls that have the same thumbprint category type into a Booker bundle. This is a Booker bundle. That means similar souls with similar life trajectories, because they have the same thumbprint category type. We're going to go deeper into that. Travel together in this book. You're not related to them, but they are your soul sisters, soul brothers. It could be a lady from France, a gentleman from Australia. We do not know. Whether you're male or female, there is no distinction. It's in the same bundle because they're written for souls. When you were conceived, that moment it starts. So how to do all that? The process we do today and in our institute is the exact same processes we did 5,000 years ago. It's a little simplified nowadays to shorten the time, but all you need to do is you submit your thumbprint, ladies left, gentlemen right. We have a simple form for that. I can show you one. There you go. In our institute, that's how we do it. It says Palm Reading Institute. You put down your thumbprint, left women, right men, the country of your birth, and whether you already had a reading or not makes also a difference. I can go deeper into that if you wish as well. So if you were in India, you will go to a reader's office, sit down, he will take a thumbprint. And to my friends who are listening to this, and Amy went through that with me and her friends and colleagues that she invited to get a reading too. In its movies, when you give your impression, they roll it. That's Hollywood. In our case, you go down straight.
Yes.
You might remember that too. You go down straight. No rolling. Very bad. So and it's hard enough to capture good impression. And we need it today too. We need your thumbprint impression for a simple reason. The reader then looks at it, whether you do it through us or go to a reader's office in India. Literally, he's going to take out a magnifying glass. I've seen it many times. Checks out your thumbprint and then identifies your thumbprint category type. There are 108 different category types. 108 again, spiritual number, holy number in Hinduism. Some category types are more frequent, and some of them I've never even come across. None of my readers has ever come across, and yet in theory we know they exist. So we know that there are 108, but I do not know a single reader who has encountered all 108.
Wow.
Not even all the readers over the years that I've been doing this combined have come across the 108 different ones. There are some that are very frequent and some that are a little less frequent. So, 30, 40, 50 maybe I know, but the other 50 we haven't discovered yet, but they do exist. So then he looks at it and then he starts the first part of the 3 parts. Exactly the same as it's always been. Search for book or bundle will be step 1. Matching of your leaf will be step 2. And step 3 will be the reading. You start the search by submitting your thumbprint. that is the beginning of your journey. Reader identifies your thumbprint category type. He does not need to know anything else about you. So if you do it through us, of course, we know who you are because you pay for it, and my Western office knows who you are. But the Indians, the reader teams only get this. That's it. No name, no nothing. They don't need to know anything else. They then go on a physical search. People always say, why can you not speed it up? Well, if I had 100 readers working for me, and if I only did that, I could cut it down, yes. But I don't have 100 readers working for me. We only have very select and highly experienced and ethical readers, so it takes time. Because it's a physical search. There is no computer involved, no registry involved. It is a gut feel of the reader. There are these bundles are now stored in archives and libraries, for the most part, primarily in the state of Tamil Nadu. They're in other parts too, but primarily that's still the hub today. And it's not just one library where sometimes I get, oh, can I come and visit you, Dr. Q? Would you show me the library? I said, look, my friend, there is no one library. There are thousands of them, thousands. And it's not library the way you think of a library or archive with air conditioning and water dispenser and I don't know, security guards. These
It's
are little
hot.
it's little it's little holes in the wall, really. It's a back room of somebody's private house, maybe with a lock on it. That's it. And there are thousands of them. I do not know how many. Nobody knows how many. And so the reader who comes usually from a reader caste, and even though castes are not officially in existence in India anymore, they're still very much alive and kicking. Usually comes from a reader caste. That means great grandfather, father, son, grandson, is passed on through that. Nowadays, an outsider can become a reader too. You find yourself a guru. And again, guru, if I may also clarify that term, because it's been misused and abused so many times, the term guru, it means teacher with original thought. Easy. It has many meanings, I understand, but in our case, means teacher with original thought. So you find yourself a guru, and the guru teaches you from the ground up what you need to do. In the beginning, he will tell you, you now sweep the floor until I start sharing with you my knowledge. So it takes years to become a real reader. So these are in these archives, and the reader then either has his own archive, of course, they should, because if you come from a reader dynasty and caste, you have your own set of bundles, a few hundred, 200, 500. If it's super big, maybe 1,000, but that's already super big. But then it might not be amongst their bundles, set of bundles. So they will go to the neighboring reader and say, hey, can I check your archive and see if you have a bundle that matches this thumbprint category type? And he checks, oh, it doesn't. Okay, then I go to the next one, to the next one. And if all his neighbors don't have it, he hops on a bicycle and rides half an hour to the next village. And if there is none of that, he hops on his moped and goes to one that's an hour or two away. And if it's too much, then of course, nowadays we use modern technology too. He would use a cell phone and say, hey, my friend, it's 5 hours away, but I think I remember you have one of those bundles that matches this thumbprint category type. So it's a physical act and it takes time. If everything goes well, of course, it will be one day he goes into his own archive, looks, oh, found it, beautiful, lucky you. Does it happen too often? No, it doesn't. Hence, in our case, you got to be patient, and all good things come to those who wait. At the moment, and we can reduce it, yes, we can, but we have been bombarded, and Amy knows that, we've been bombarded with reading requests. Once we start the search, and I can go into that a little later, once we start the search for this, that means you've been put on our active list from the wait list, which is very, very long. The search time is still 3 to 6 months. So from the moment we say, Amy, congratulations, we've moved you from the wait list to the active list, and we will start the search today. You still have to be patient. Average search time is 3 to 6 months from today's point of view. And from today's point of view, it's 6 to 24 months on the wait list to be put on our active list. So then,
and it's worth the wait. It's totally worth the wait. I have a question before you finish. With the the readers that have the bundles, the different libraries, do they get along? Like, do they share with one another easily?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because I was wondering, I'm like, well, if they're so far apart, how does that work? And how does one obtain like the library? Is it just passed down
Yes.
from from the family, the reader to the
Yes.
next reader? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. They like hold on to it like a treasure. This is what I
Yeah.
inherited. That's my family's.
It's an honor to have something like that.
It's their livelihood too. Of course it is. And if they're friends, they share it easily, of course. But it's human nature. There is animosity and there is envy and oh my God, this reader lineage is crap for them and this and that the other. So there's a law. I call it my Nadi, what goes on behind the scenes, the the Brazilian novellas, the telenovelas, where the drama, the Nadi drama, Nadi saga that goes on. So it's a lot going on behind the scenes. But yes, if they're friends, they easily share, and it's kind of like borrowing a book from a Western people from a public library. You have to return it at some point. You cannot just
Yes.
go to a library and say, okay, oh, I like this book, you take it. Maybe to some of the younger audience, they don't even know what a book is anymore, but I grew up with books and it gives away my age. I like a physical book in my hand. I'm not into computers or reading an electronic book. So you got to return it again. That's just the way it is. And the same thing is with us. Once we find the bundle and bring it back to the office and say, congratulations, Amy, we found your bundle. You have 2 months to pay and book your reading. Otherwise, we have to give it back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that is about the search part. So that's part one, is the search. You submit your thumbprint, they go on a search, you bring it back to the office. If you're in India and you're lucky, they find it up after a couple of days or say come back in a week. Anyway, they bring it there and then you would go to their office, or in our case, we do it online. We send you the good news saying congratulations, we found your bundle. In our case, matching and reading is done over Zoom like we do today. If you were in India, you would go into the reader's office and it would do it one-on-one, sitting across the desk, matching and reading. So what does matching mean? Matching means the reader opens up the bundle, like I did before, and then tries to find your actual leaf with your name on it. Don't forget, the reader knows nothing about you. All he knows about you is that you're male or female, which country you were born in, because it makes it easier to find the bundles within the whole stack of them. And we're talking tens of thousands of bundles, not just one or two or 100 or 5,000. We talk a lot of them. And for him to pick first time the right bundle to have a successful matching is, to me, still, after thousands and thousands of readings, mind-blowing. So he brings it to the office because he thinks that's a divine act, really. He's like, yeah, this could be, yeah, and then no, this one. And then he takes this one, brings it back to the office. And 90+% of the time, the leaf is in it. Out of all of them, he picks the right one. It's just, to me, still an amazing.
It's so incredible.
It's incredible, yeah. So matching, so that would be step 2, in our case on Zoom. He opens up the bundle, looks at the leaf, and then reads out to you a statement, not a question, a statement. Whatever statement catches his eye to be the most important on the leaf, he reads out. For example, you're married. This leaf belongs to a person who is married. And if you are married, that moment you will say yes. If you're not married, you say no. If you say no to a statement, it's not your leaf, he flips over to the next one. If you say yes, he stays on the leaf and goes deeper. There is the only answer you ever need to give to a statement is yes, no, right, wrong, correct, incorrect. That's it. Nothing more. As an example, let's say you are going through a divorce at the time of your matching, and the reader says, oh, you are married. You still need to say yes, because you're still married at the time, but no need to say I'm married, but I'm going through divorce. That's irrelevant. Cool? So for as long as you say yes, he stays on it and goes deeper and deeper and deeper until you say yes to every single statement, and boom, like magic, he says, dum ba dum ba dum ba dum, and it's delivered to you in a sing-song way, by the way. I don't speak Tamil,
Yes.
but I know the training of the readers, and it's delivered to you on purpose in a sing-song way, because the voice carries healing elements, and the entire experience is meant to be a healing experience for the seeker too. So it's the vibrations in it. And in reality, I don't know, you tell me if I overwhelm your audience, it's written as a poem, a conversation between Shiva and his wife Parvati. back and forth. And that is how he dissects and finds your actual leaf. So dum badum badum badum, out of the blue, Amy, like what? I'm sure you remember your own
It's
reading
it's
too.
it's
It
just
is
mind
incredible.
blowing. What it's the second you find your leaf and all of the names that are accurate. And from for me, it was my name, my mom's name, my biological dad's, because he's not even in my life, and then
Yes.
my sister and my husband, and like it's just mind blowing.
Yes.
And it's
What can I say? Amy knows because I just finished a reading with a gentleman, very an incredible soul, really, super energies he had. I helped him with it because he was a little more mature too, and he told me, the name so I could help him look at, when the reader does his work. And then the reader told him his stepmother's name, which I didn't even know, like and then the stepmother's name. And he's like, oh my God, I didn't even think of her. I gave you my biological mother's name, which the reader also told, but he also mentioned stepmother's name because the biological mother is already passed on, stepmother is still alive. And so this guy was blown away by it.
incredible.
And I just finished the reading right before we started our conversation. So in short, it's the Maharishis who, of course, at that time, 1,000 years ago, said, how can we make sure that the seeker embraces the reading as a gift, as a guideline, as a compass for their life so they can create a better life trajectory for themselves? They said it's the human mind and ego. We need to satisfy that first. Hence, we need to be able to tell them something that they embrace and accept. Oh, yeah, of course. They do not know my mother's first name, my father's first name, my husband's first name, or wife, or ex-wife, or deceased wife, or third wife. I had it all. I'm telling you about several readings where people were married not just once or twice, but 5 or 6 times. And the reader told them the ex-husband, wife's name too. They were like, oh my God, I divorced the guy and never thought I would ever hear his name again. And yet, boom, he's on the leaf. So all that is possible. And your date of birth, of course, your time of
Hmm.
birth, your weekday of birth, whether you have any kids or not, any siblings or not, how many, gender. So all these things. So in short, it's made for you to embrace the fact that, yes, this is my message for me. Matching process, I need to explain a little more too, because to some people, they're like, oh, that's just guesswork. He's going to ask this and that, and then, says, okay, this does match, and then blam, he's just guessing it and comes up with the answer. It's far from reality, far from it. Leaf is written in a dead language, Granta, as we established already, ancient Tamil. 2, it's written as a poem, not in prose. It would be awesome if it said, oh, this leaf belongs to Amy. That would be fantastic, but it's not working like that either. It's Tamil and ancient Tamil, both are a syllabic language, sound-based, not letter-based. If we had to convert Tamil to, in our case, English, it would have 247 letters, 247.
Wow.
And the icing on the cake, to be able to compress so much information about a human's life, and you had a reading yourself, so you know what I'm talking about, onto one tiny leaf, you can only do so when you compress it and use symbols, it's
Hmm.
compressed. Hence, it needs to be decoded, and that requires a skilled reader. Of course it does. Now, when it comes to the matching and having 247 letters in a sound-based language, the reader needs to know, hence you need to help the reader, which direction to decode it. A, E, I, O, or U is one symbol. In our case, it makes a difference if it's Amy or Emi or Imi, right?
Hmm.
So he will say your name starts with an A, E, I, or U. If that's correct, you say yes, it does. And then what is it? Is it an A, I, E? And then you tell the reader, yeah, it's an A. So he knows which direction to decode it. That's very important for people to understand. It is not easy. It's not hocus pocus. It's not guesswork, but he needs to know how to interpret the symbol, and it requires your input. It's as simple as that. 99% of everyone who gets a reading with us understands it. 1% doesn't, and they're super upset. It's guesswork. You're lying. You cheat. I said, no, we're not. but here's your money back. You have 100% money back guarantee for those who are not happy with the reading. But I'm always very open, very forthcoming with everything that's involved in it. And so you need to help the reader how to interpret the symbol. It's very important. G, J, K, L, M, or N is also one symbol, but it makes a big difference which one it is, so he decodes it, and then once it's decoded, with every single reading, thousands upon thousands, I can actually then mark you on the leaf your name and say, this is the A, that's the M, and that's the Y. But we need to know how to interpret it, because at the same time, it could be an I, N, and something else, But if we know, look, it's interpreted as A, M, and I. Hence, he said, dum, ba-dum, 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 Amy. Boom, it's you, because he understands in which direction to take the leaf. So that's the matching process. And then it's congratulations, we found your leaf. And now we move on to the third part. That will be your reading. So search is done, matching is done, and now the reading. Your reading is based on 3 aspects, and it's also very important. First and foremost, let's start with that. I repeat again, rishis wrote these leaves to help you create a better life trajectory for yourself. Better, whatever better means to you. And even if it's just curiosity and like, oh my God, I want to know, just out of curiosity, it's also fine enough. You don't have to suffer from cancer and all the other nonsense that I suffer from to get a reading. Or you want to be curious, will I ever have a family? Can I have a family? Or a job that is actually fulfilling or something like that. So better, that's very important. 2, it's meant as a guideline and as a guideline only. Must not, under any circumstances, be taken verbatim. It's the biggest mistake you can do, because that would take away power that you have and I have, free will and choice. I'm very proud of it, man. I own all my mistakes. I said, I either did it through an action or inaction, but either way, I did it.
Right.
I even go so far to say that we create the reality that we're in to the core. I now, of course, at the time I was too young and I had no life experience, but today, as a 54-year-old, I'm telling you, I caused the cancer, even though it had nothing to do with me, absolutely nothing. I was a victim, 16-year-old kid playing outside, and the government, of course, warned us. They stopped playing outdoors, and they, you couldn't drink any milk anymore, have any fruits from the, from the bushes and stuff. But for how long do you do that? You cannot smell it, you cannot taste it. It's a nuclear waste. None of that.
Yeah.
And I was unlucky to get cancer. Many others did not, but I did. So I am 100% convinced, even though it has nothing to do with me, I caused it myself. And it gives me, I'm not a victim. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. I could now lie in bed and cry for the last 40 years. Why me? All the pain and all of this and all the missed opportunities. I would have much rather be a physician today. Who cares? Problems and issues and blocks and hurdles and challenges are meant to be overcome. It's not about avoiding them. That's
Part
not
of
what a reading
life.
does. It's how you overcome it and how you deal with it. And if I can say that I, little me, not caused it, but in a way also caused the Persian Revolution, so we had to flee, so I could experience that. I caused the cancer myself because I'm in it. I'm in the equation. If I'm not in the equation, there is no cancer, there is no revolution. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I caused it. Hence, I own it. Hence, I can decause it. I can overcome it. If I say it has nothing to do with me, cancer was pushed upon me, the revolution was pushed upon me, that means I'm a victim and I cannot do anything about it. Nothing. But ever since the time when I realized, oh, no, everything happens in here, I give myself the power to change things, to move it in a direction. I don't say it's easy. Don't get me wrong. I don't say it's easy. I suffer from a lot of pain even today, but you don't see it on my face. I can hardly do many, many moves. And yet I'm like, you know what? I caused it myself. For whatever reason, I needed to experience how it feels to be constantly in pain, or how it feels to be in an ICU, or whatever. So a reading is a guideline and a compass. All it can do is show you, look, this is a possible future for you from today's point of view.
I want
Come
to
and
add
look
to
with me
that.
into the future.
Yeah.
Do you like it or not? You
Yeah.
like it? Great. Now you need to create it for yourself to actually experience it. You don't like it? Well, that means a lot of blocks. You were off course until now. And some readings, some people, in the early days, I remember people got upset with me. It's a fraud. It's a scam. It's like a terrible read. No, that was the best part. Terrible, terrible reading. And I was like, I don't understand. The reader is great. So I watched their reading, 3 hours, somebody else is reading, just watching to see why is it so terrible? And then I realized, my God, the reading is super awesome, super detailed, detailed.
Yep.
But they were told, you screwed up, man. You are not a saint. Your future is not, I don't know, you're not a millionaire. You cannot drive a Porsche. You first have to fix your life. And that's what I didn't like. They thought, oh, I
Right.
get a reading and I'm being told I'm an angel. Everything's beautiful, dandy. I get a husband, wife, kids. No, how can you do that? You cannot screw up your life until now and think everything will be different just because of reading. It can only show you a possible future. And if you screwed up until today, well, then the future will be challenging too. But the good news is they wrote these leaves to help you create a better life trajectory for yourself. That means for every block identified in your reading, there is a remedy. And if you do it with all your heart and with the right intentions, you can start gradually shift the energies toward a more desirable, better future. So you
I want
wanted
to
to
add a
interject?
little to
Yeah,
that.
sure, of
Yeah.
course.
So for our Sacred Awakening students, I teach people how to open the records and how to open the records for other people. And so they do readings, we do healings, depending on what level they do. And one of the things that's really important that the guardians like to say about any type of reading, it's where the perception of the person in that exact moment. And so, how you perceive the information can be one way in that exact moment. And a year from now, you can have a totally different understanding
Absolutely.
of the
Absolutely.
information.
Of
And
course.
it's always amazing to me when you sit with something and then you're like, oh, that's what that meant. And it's so amazing. And then it's also don't shoot the messenger because sometimes
Correct.
people are, even though they
Yes.
think they're ready,
Yes. They're not.
that they're
Some,
not. But the thing that is most important is they are, because them getting mad about it is part of their experience with
correct.
with the healing and the journey and everything else. And maybe it's the catalyst that allows them to have the true change that they're seeking. So I love that you're sharing, it's just to assist you in feeling better and not to take it verbatim.
Correct. Very super, super important. Yes. And so reading, not verbatim, guideline, very important. And your reading is based on 3 aspects, which I tell everyone and train every moderator that works for Institute. Is based on your thumbprint category type. Your thumbprint category type is the secret to all of this. Without your thumbprint category type, there is no reading. It's your red thread in life. It's your baseline. It's your what you came to this life in general terms to experience. Thumbprint category type explains a lot about you, and we explain your thumbprint category type in detail in your reading. So that's like you're not changing, constant in life, your anchor. The 2 other parts change all the time. Your energies change all the time. So the reading is based on the energies on the day of your reading, not your mood. Whether you had coffee in the morning or not makes no difference. Fight with your husband or wife makes no difference. That's your mood, your energies. According to our system, it changes every 6 months. It's like a cycle. And 3, it's based on stars and planets, of course, because they have an impact on us too. And the vehicle we use to tap into their message is Vedic astrology, so Indian astrology. That means that a reader is also a fully fledged Vedic astrologist. This is important to know as well, because there are symbols on your leaf that refer to the stars and planets, and it needs to be able to decode that. So based on these 3, reader looks at your leaf, says, come here. I'm doing this metaphorically speaking. Come here. Together, we're going to look into the future from today's point of view, starting today until there is no more writing on the leaf. No more writing on the leaf. Some people are scared of that too. Does not necessarily mean the end of your life. It just the end of the writing on the leaf. So that day when you get a reading, your reading stops at age 79. I'm just making this up, as it was actually my reading. 77 to 79, he said, you'll get a heart attack and die. I was stunned because of the accuracy, because I had just come out of ICU with major heart issues, you know. And if you ask me as a human being, how do you think you're going to die? Is either cancer going to come back or the permanent damage that the myocarditis has done to my heart still today too. I'm not the same person that I was 12 years ago. Get a heart attack. I was like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about, because I did not tell him that I just came out of ICU to get a reading to overcome karma. But I also knew it cannot be set in stone. It cannot. It's just, you know, from that day's point of view and the energies that I had, I could see another, 30 years ahead of me. But I had a second reading. In the second reading, and I did all the pujas verbatim, and that's very important. I followed them to the dot, second reading, he could see, oh, I can see till 84, and no heart issues that might be the end of your life. So you can change your life's trajectory for the better. You can. And if you're crazy enough, and I say this tongue-in-cheek, crazy enough wanting to live longer, because I tell you, not me, I'm done, I'm happy when it's over, then of course you can work on it.
Being human's hard.
It's being human is very hard. It's not so easy at all. So you can work on that too. So based on these three, he looks at it and gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's a whole life reading, what we do, what we call whole life reading. We cover all 14 chapters on a leaf, all 14. Karmic chapter, your remedy chapter, which is the most important chapter really, your health chapter, family chapter, you name it, all of it. And it gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Also important for the audience to understand, to help them awaken a little bit, with Amy's help. A reading is not meant to make you feel cool, special, chosen, I don't know, whatever. It's not. It's hence also not sugar-coated. It's meant to help you create a better life trajectory. If you were, mind my French, an F up until the reading, partying, drugs, I don't know, whatever, you cannot just get a reading and be told, oh, everything's dandy, you're going to be an angel and a healer from now on. You won't. You first have to clean up your act, change the energies, and then after some time, because it takes time to change the energies, you cannot, F about for the last 20 years and think overnight you can change everything. You've got to still invest some energy and time into it, and then create a life trajectory in a more desirable direction. So it gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. What does good mean? Good means a good time period for X, getting married, having a child, expanding the business, move, whatever, whether you utilize it or not is up to you. Whether you actually sit down and write the book or not is up to you. The universe opens its gates for you. Now is a good time. It tells you between the age of 41 and 51, 49 and 51, move or write a book or whatever. Either you utilize it or not, you get free will and choice. So all you can do is like, look, the universe will help you at the time. If it's bad or ugly, embrace it with all your heart as a blessing in disguise. I tell everyone, because that means there is a block. If it's bad or ugly, it's a block. Money block, relationship block, child block, karmic block, planetary block, whatever. The block was with you until the reading too. You are hitting a wall all the time, just not knowing why. Am I in terrible relationships? How come I cannot have a kid? How come I'm being abused? How come my jobs suck? How come, I have always financial issues? Vicious cycle, blocks, boom, 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 boom. Now the reader tells you, you have a karmic block, or you have a planetary block, or a generational block. To some, it's a shocker because they have many blocks, right? Not just one or two. And they're like, oh, it's a terrible reading. It's so negative, blah, blah, blah. It's beautiful. Say, oh my God, thank you. Because now there are blocks in your life. And the great news is the most powerful part of your reading are the remedies. They did it on purpose. They show you the blocks and they tell you exactly what to do to help you overcome the blocks. All you got to do is just follow them verbatim. Because the only part of the reading that you must take verbatim are the remedy parts, called pujas. Pujas means, literally translated, prayer ceremony or ceremonial act. So you either do some sort of mantra or you need to do something physically, like bring food to the needy, or feed a cow, or something physical. And those come in a set format. You know, gotta follow them exactly as prescribed. The first one, then the second one, and the third one, and this and that, the other. It's nothing earth-shattering. It really isn't. Anyone can sit on 8 Saturdays in a row and meditate to Lord Shiva or Hanuman, usually on a Saturday, or something like that. Or every full moon for 5 full moons, or every new moon, or any whatever. It's not long. It takes you 5 minutes, but it is your commitment to actually do it on the day prescribed, exactly as told, to sit in silence, go deep within, focus on the healing with all your heart and intention to overcome the block it was prescribed for 5 full moon days in a row. I mean, how easy? I mean, it's super easy. You just got to commit yourself. And that's the only part in a reading that must be taken verbatim. No wiggle room. You cannot say, oh, I don't like the full moon day here. I do rather this first. And no, exactly. Oh, but it's going to take me a year and a half. It's like, man, you've been effing up your life for the last 20 years, and now you want this to be done in 1 month. No, you're going to put some effort into it. And if you do it, I also tell everyone in all the talks, if you really do it with your heart, you show the universe, oh my God, Amy is really serious about it. So we're going to help her. And things very soon will become easier and easier and easier. And you will see very soon that things will start shifting, because you did it with all the heart and intention to overcome the blocks identified. So that's my 2 cents to everyone who wants to get a reading. Take the pujas verbatim, do it with all your hearts and dedication, and trust the universe that you will be helped and things will start changing. So that's the last chapter. I can go very deep too. I can talk many more things. I just want to make sure that I am also conscious of the awakening crowds.
Yeah, no problem. I have a question. Why would
yes.
someone want to do a second reading? Like, what would be the benefit of that, and what is different from the first reading versus the second reading?
Oh, we had many people who had many readings with us, and also from Conscious Life Expo. So my first reading, I tell you my personal motivation too. So my first reading, of course, was I didn't want to be in hospital anymore. I want to overcome karma. And then so I had the reading, and the guy told me, oh, you're going to bring this to the West, which I, of course, did not take seriously. Trust me, I did not. I had no intentions whatsoever to bring this to the West. But then, of course, 3 years later, maybe, or 4 years later, this was already established, the institute. And I had a second reading because I was curious. I was like, what's in there for me? The second reading picks up on the energies at the time of the reading, and it reflects the reality that you're in then. In my first reading, he told me, you're going to bring this to the West. I wasn't forced doing it, don't get me wrong. I wasn't forced. It was free will. But I remember distinctly, second reading, I'm sitting across the reader, and when he did the matching with me, so he's looking at me, and then he sees a white guy sitting across from him, and then he doesn't speak English, but shortness on it, and then he looks at the leaf, he looks at me, and then he says, "You were doing this." He couldn't believe it, because he was confused. It was a statement with a question mark. You were doing this, because he couldn't fathom a white guy being involved in this. And I said, well, I cannot read, but I have an institute now that does this. I was like, my God, it's in my freaking leaf already that I'm doing this. It's amazing. And things just, it picks up. Really, you can have, I'm exaggerating now, you can have 100 readings, because the ultimate goal is every single time to make it a better life trajectory. Better. And if I may, since you asked the question, if I may just step back for a little bit to help your audience awaken even a little more. I love the term awakening with Amy. It's a great name. So these rishis, you're an Akashic record expert, so these rishis wrote these leaves to help humanity at large, not just the individual Amy and Dr. Q, humanity at large, to come through, get through Kali Yuga better. I presume you know, but maybe the audience does not know. We have 4 yugas. These are YUGA. So 4 huge time periods. And in an analogy, winter, spring, summer, and fall. And Kali Yuga, Kali, is winter. So now, for thousands of years already, humanity, like souls, have been in winter. That means dark times. And we are now, people say, those that know better than I do, we are at the tail end of it. So these rishis said, how can we help humanity get through these dark times a little better? Because the definition of Kali Yuga is that only 25% of souls are on the righteous path. 75 dharma, 75% are not. They indulge in drugs, sex, and rock and roll, and I don't know, money, power, abuse, sex, I don't know, crazy things. 25% are inclined to be on the righteous path. So a minority. 75% are not. All they're looking for is either fun, abuse, I don't know, whatever. And so 25% of humanity has to schlep 75% through these dark times, and it's a very difficult task to do. So these rishis said, we want to help those 25% to create a better life trajectory for themselves, so that in turn they can help those poor suckers that are in darkness, not on the righteous path, to get through these dark times and maybe bring some of them onto the righteous path. And since we're now at the tail end of it, some people say 30 years from now, but I don't think so. Some say 100 years, 200 years. It's not thousands of years anymore, because each one of these yugas lasts thousands of years. We will shift from winter to spring. That means, bang, overnight, 50% of humanity is on the righteous path. Makes a big difference, right? Boom.
Yeah.
And then eventually we get back to the beautiful times where almost everyone is on the righteous path, but there is no need for, there is no poverty, there is no starvation, there is no power games, there is no nonsense, we live in harmony until again, the whole thing starts again from the beginning, and it's a cycle. So for the listeners, they wrote them to help humanity, those on a righteous path called dharma, get through it easier, create a better life for themselves, so they can help humanity at large to get through these dark times. So just step back a little bit to give a bigger picture to that. And if you wish, we can go just a little deeper too.
Yeah, let's go.
Because people ask me, how does it all happen? So in my world, everything is energy, really it is. It's manifested differently, of course. My laptop is energy too, and our conversation, or the Zoom program is also energy. Money is energy, and sickness is energy, all of it is energy. So the most perfect curve is the sine curve. That is known in science. It is the most perfect curve. And if frequencies were only sine curves, I think we'd all be angels with wings and sitting at a beach somewhere in moksha. Moksha is liberation. That is the ultimate goal, by the way, that we all want to reach after many, many life cycles. And that is also a reason why these rishis wrote them, so you can reach moksha. If all was a sine curve, there would be only bliss. There would. But we're far from it. We're humans. So in your own lives, you have noticed if something is off, like you get sick, like in my case, sick, or you have a car accident, or money doesn't flow, or relationship issues, that means you are further away from being a sine curve. And the more away you are, the more screwed up that curve is, the more screwed up either your entire life is or parts of it are. So all this energy. The pujas which in Western terminology, I translate as being an energy shifting exercise. They help you bring those back again to as close as possible. You cannot get to being a sine curve, but as close as possible to a sine curve. And as you are getting closer to the sine curve, you start attracting things, frequencies that are also closer to a sine curve. If yours is like this, there is no way you attract something that's like this. And the more you're like this, you attract more experiences, if you wish, that are like that. So that means your prongs and your sockets change, and you find sockets that match your new frequency. And as that happens, calmer, more focused, more fulfilling, you steer the ship in the direction that you want. And that's what the pujas help you with. So if everything is energy and time, I also don't believe in time. Can I prove it? No, I cannot. I'm just a human being. But I know so because I've been had enough experiences in my life to know that time, the way we perceive, I don't think so. There is no past, present, and future. I'm pretty convinced it all happens at the same time. Otherwise, you cannot go into the Akashic records. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist at all. So it all happens at the same time. But for our little brains and human experience, there is a past, present, and future. Otherwise, we couldn't cope with it, right? So if there is no time the way we were taught by society that time is, that means everything is like one big blob. Boom, right here. And we only get to experience one microsecond of it at a time, and that's one after another, and that is why we have time. So if everything happens at the same time, that means these Maharishis, 7,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, at the same time, when you needed help, by manifesting that wish, everything is a thought. I realized it too in my journey. Without a thought, there is nothing. There isn't. If you cannot put a word to it in there, you don't have to speak it, then it doesn't exist at all. It's not even there. But then we say, oh, Apple, glass, iPhone, and there is a word, and then all of a sudden it exists. But if you don't have anything to name it with, and if you're in that state of mind, either with shamanic help or just pure focus and meditation, which I've been able to reach with both, with and without help, not easy, I understand, then you become one with the universe. You do. Then you realize, oh my God, it all happens in here. If I can put a word to it, it becomes reality. If I cannot, and have no thinking at all, that's the aim of all these rishis, to not think at all. And when you can stop thinking, you become the universe. When you have a thought of needing help, and it actually anchors in there, like my girlfriend told me this, and it went through about second time, it actually stayed in there. It became a thought. And then I manifested that thought and I submitted my thumbprint. It's an action. So it came from here to outside of my realm. And that moment when I said, now I'm committed, I need guidance. At the same time, 3,000 years ago, Agastya started to write the message for me. Pretty cool, huh? So you did that.
So neat.
And it comes to you. And now I go even deeper. If there is no time, I mean, to some of you it might be a little crazy what I say, but that's truly what I believe. At the same time, if there is no time, and if you indeed go very deep and you can reach the moment, not easy. I only reached it a few split seconds for a few times. There is no thought. You know that you're one with everything else too. You're one. But our brains are so small and cannot cope with it. So we need to have the separation to be able to experience human experiences. But if you go there, no wonder now that I'm an older guy, I understand why all these people, these hermits wanted to be withdrawn and just focus and become one with the universe, because you can. You become one with everything else too. All the universes and all the humans and animals and all of it is one. That means the moment you submit your thumbprint, 3,000 years ago, at the same time, you yourself, as at the time Maharishi Agastya, says, oh, when I'm there as Amy, I'm going to give myself help now, and give yourself help.
Really
So
neat to think about.
it's huge. I know.
It's gigantic.
It's
Because I
gigantic.
often have this, if you think about it, like, because we'll do past life regressions,
Mhm.
they're in the future. Well, and or they're in the past and we're in the future and we're visiting
Mhm.
all at the same time. So is it really
Yes,
the past? Is it really the future? It's just one.
it's just one.
And it's fascinating to wrap your head around
I know.
and put
It's a
languaging around it.
yes, correct. It's true. Absolutely. I know. It's trust me, it took me decades to come to this conclusion. It didn't happen overnight. I had to experience it um, and suffer through it too until I was like,
Yeah,
oh my God, yes, of course. Otherwise, this wouldn't work at all. There cannot be time the way we perceive time. There cannot be reality, whatever reality is. Who knows? So, and I also, that's one of the reasons why I try to be as respectful as I can to every single human being, because I know you and I are the same, really. We're just
hmm
in different physical form, but deep down, you and I are the same. So how can I abuse you or be unethical to you? Because then I'm unethical to myself. That's, it's just, so that's a very, 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 very deep, 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 deep rabbit hole that took me 40 years to get there. But when you can see it through these eyes, then it all makes sense. And then you can embrace um, the message so much easier and help you create a better life for yourself, and in turn help others lead a better life for themselves, so that this whole crazy thing that we call reality and life and the human race becomes a tiny little bit more bearable and better. So
I love it. I do have a question about karma and curses. So
sure,
when it comes to getting a reading, someone could, well, we all have karma. And so
all
we're
of us,
clearing the karma. So there's
yes,
that. When it comes to reading, there can be curses and other, and we'll just label it bad karma, putting that in
yes.
quotations, that
Mhm.
we're clearing. Can you talk a little bit about that and why someone would want to clear that, or why someone would might want to discover if they have, I don't like using the word curse, but it's easy for people to wrap their heads around.
Yeah,
Why someone
yeah.
might want to look at that.
If first of all, allow me to explain what karma is.
Mhm.
People, when they hear karma, they think, oh, it's bad. No, karma is just something that you took from a past life to this life. It can be good too. People
Yes.
forget that. If you
We have
have
lots of good
been
karma.
leading lots of good karma, driving, I'm using an analogy, you're driving with your convertible Porsche on a German highway because you can drive as fast as you want. You just don't notice that that's good karma because you're like, oh my God, I got the money, I got this, so I can drive a Porsche on a German Autobahn. So that is not addressed in a reading because it does not need healing.
Right.
You as a human being who has been blessed with health, like a strong body, healthy body, I don't know, good friends, good parents. Oh my God, that's a gift in itself, that are actually guiding you, supporting you, paying for education. I don't know what. There's so many things that we just take for granted. Yeah, there's my parents. Of course, they need to do that. No, they don't. They don't. They do it. So that's good karma. Say thank you very much that I have such beautiful parents. So all the good things that we take for granted is your good karma. And we don't even waste a second on it saying thank you that I was blessed with that. We always focus on the negative parts. So karma can be both good and bad in your everyday life. And there is small karma, negative karma, and strong negative karma, of course, too. And according to our system, you, any human, by default, actually, can overcome small negative karma if you do good things, period. If you're a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, a nurse, a physician, so in a servicing environment, doing it ethically, mind you, so you can still be an ass and a physician or something like that, or corrupt, whatever. So if you do it ethically and you are already in a servicing environment, then you can overcome a lot of your karma because you help others And you can, and people always ask me too, man, you can make millions with doing healing work. I don't care. I'm happy for you. Everyone should make millions, and wouldn't have any jealousy and greed on this planet at all if everyone making a lot of money, as long as you do it ethically. That's all I'm asking for. Just do it ethically, just screw anyone over, do it ethically, don't overprice people, and you make still millions. Beautiful. Oh my God, I'm so happy for you. So, but some of the karma, you need to know what happened. It's bigger. So that is why I'm sure you do it too in your healing work. You take them into past lives, and the reading does too. So one chapter of a leaf is dedicated to past life karma. A few have no past life karma, and that is those souls who voluntarily came back as a human after having finished their mandatory life cycles, however many thousands of them there were, and now they reached moksha, and that's the ultimate goal for a soul. Moksha means liberation. And they're there, kicking back, toes in sand, sipping their pina coladas, and they get bored. And then after a while, they say, oh my God, they look down and see a bunch of stupid beings that we call humans. They need my help, so they need to go back. They voluntarily came back. Big difference. Everyone else is mandatorily here. We don't want to be here, but we still are. And as we do, we will get hopefully better and better and better as souls. But they voluntarily come back, these idiots, and I'm very tongue-in-cheek because I have a lot, I know quite a few of them too. And Reverend Bill McDonald is one of them, and he's a big supporter of our cause, and he's in Sacramento, and he's one of them, and he had anything but an easy life. Vietnam War, Aaron was exposed to Agent Orange, many surgeries, but a beautiful soul. I love him very much. He became a very dear friend, and I only met him through a reading, really, just like I met you too. So I meet a lot of beautiful souls, and I know because I was in his reading too, and he came back voluntarily as a so-called remoksha soul or time traveler. And those people is identified on the leaf. It says, you are remokshat. You're a time traveler. And those souls cannot have karma because they came from moksha. And hence their karma chapter is empty. Everyone else has karma, bigger, smaller, whatever. And you need to be aware of it. Why? What you did, and on at least in public readings, it tells you who you were, male, female, where you lived, and what time period, and what you did to create the karma that you're in now. Because karma is just like any other block. It could be a planetary block, it could be a generational block, family block, or it could be a karmic block. So you took with you a block that bothers you now your entire life. It could be bigger or smaller. It could be health issues, like major health, like in my case, or even worse, that is much worse than mine too, money issues, relationship issues. You always end up in the same vicious cycle, and you just do not know why. Why am I always ending up with the wrong person? Or why am I always ending up in a job that doesn't pay enough, or whatever the issue might be? And then the reader tells you, yeah, you did X, and that is why now you carry the karma with you. But good news is there is a puja for it. That's the good news. So you should embrace it. Say, oh my God, now I know. Thank you so much. And you put all your heart and soul into it. You do the puja. And with that, you can shift the energies, and the karma is gone because you changed the flow of energies and brought it back to as close to a sine curve as possible. And that's what you want to know about your karma.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. How can people get a reading if they want to get a reading from?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Well, our website is indianpalmleafreading.com. Easy. indianpalmleafreading.com. We're also on social media, Facebook, Indian Palm Leaf Reading, Instagram, Indian Palm Leaf Reading, YouTube. Oh, by the way, you can go to a YouTube channel. That might be of interest to you too, Amy. Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. And we have now a dozen, give or take, quite a few seekers who were so kind, allowing us to put their entire reading on our YouTube channel.
Wow.
And they share it with everyone. So you have 3-4 hours of one reading, from the very beginning when we start with the matching process to the very end when we explain the pujas. You can just watch, and Erica Middlemiss, maybe you know her. She comes to Expo all the time. She was the very first one 5-6 years ago, said, yep, you can put mine on. I said, really? Because I was shocked myself. And it's a very private, very personal thing. I said, I don't have to hide anything. Just put it on. So we recorded it for, YouTube. And she has 100,000 views, and because people saw her video, now another 10, 12 people said, put mine on too. So folks out there, you can actually watch it, exactly how it works in our institute, and learn and embrace and understand the reading process. So indianpalmreading.com is our website. The search, how you would start the whole thing is you go to our website, you click, I want to start the search for my bundle. You pay $100, $100 US, to be put on our waiting list. So you come to our waiting list. The $100 comes in the system. I have several ladies in the office who work for us. Then they will send you an email saying, thank you so much for the payment. You can already submit your thumbprint. So they will send you a lengthy email explaining how to submit your thumbprint and an empty thumbprint form. You need to put it on there. And we have a secure website. I pay good money for it. So you upload it through our website, because some people are afraid about, submitting a thumbprint, which I totally understand. So it's a secure website. You upload it through our system, and then the reader looks at it and says, yes, I can use it. And with that, you will receive an email saying, yes, we can use your thumbprint. And now you'll be moved from waiting list to next in line list. And the next in line, God knows how long it is, 6 to 12 months. Don't shoot me because I don't know. Because we're always getting new readers and new moderators and more this and that. So I try to cut it down as much as I can. It was already 2 years, the list, just to be on the next in line list before we actually started the search. So I'm working on expanding it. And then when we have enough capacity, we send an email saying, congratulations, Amy. Today we moved you from the next in line to the active list. That means we start the search for your bundles, and got to be a little patient, 3 to 6 months. Could be 1 week. I mean, it could be 1 week too. I do not know, but the average search is 3 to 6 weeks, 3 to 6 months. But it has happened, and it's much faster too. So I'm just letting you know.
Mine came in really fast. I was
Really fast?
shocked.
Okay,
Yeah, and
very
then
good.
my friends, they were much slower, and I was like, it's coming.
It's
You're
coming.
fine. It's all
You're fine.
good.
It's
It's
all
all
good. So
good.
I do not know, so that's the reason why I tell people, you got to wait 6 months, because I'd rather tell you wait 6 months and you have it after a month than me telling you, oh, it can be 2 weeks, and then you wait for 5 months and then you think I'm lying or not reliable. Because I do not know, it all happens in divine timing. That's just the way it is.
Yes.
And then when the bundles are found, we send you another email saying, congratulations, we found your bundles, and now you can pay the remaining $400 for the reading. So $100 to start the process, $400 to get the reading. And then once you pay $400, you can choose what day and what time to get the reading. We have readings every day, 7 days a week, minus maybe 20 days when the high holidays are in India.
Yeah.
We cannot do it, but almost every day of the year we have a reading, several a day, and we have 2 set times. It's also important because we cater to a global audience. It's either 12:30 a.m., that means very late at night, early morning, or 6:30 a.m., early morning, East Coast time, so 12:30 or 6:30, or you convert it to West Coast time, that will be 12:45 or 6:45 and 9:45 p.m. Corresponds 12:45 a.m. is 9:45 p.m. California time, or 3:45 a.m. California time. So we realized over the years that these 2 set times, several readings at the same time, but these are 2 set times, we can cover the world because we have people from Australia, New Zealand, I don't know, South Africa, all over Europe. And with these 2, we can cover it pretty okay, given the huge time zone difference with India. India is 10 hours ahead of, 11 hours ahead of where you are now. So we need to keep all that in mind when we set it up. And it's over Zoom. We record it all. You get a beautifully edited recording of your reading, as you know, Amy. We use the chat function a lot, so you get a lot of information typed for you. We take a picture of your leaf too, and you get a high resolution picture of your leaf. The original remains in the bundle and goes back to the archive where it came from. And we do a huge puja PDF with the pictures of all the gods and goddesses. So you really don't have to think much. We do it for you. All you need to do is just put your heart into it and get your pujas done. So yeah, you know my social media, you know our website, and how to sign up. There will be 3 people actually helping you. The reader, who does not speak any English, in my office in India, an interpreter who interprets from Tamil to English in my office in India, but also a moderator in the West, who I train personally, every single one of them, who helps you through the whole process. He or she is the person to hold your hand when you come online, say, hello, welcome to the Empowerment Reading Institute, and then help you through the whole process until the very end. So there's actually 3 people in a reading so that you get the most out of your experience.
I love it. And for anybody that wants to do this, I will link everything in the show notes and in the description. It's worth the wait. It's absolutely worth the wait. And I still refer back to the chat notes. I think it's the easiest thing to refer back to because you can refer back and look at it, and they break them down into ages on like when it is. And I do want to share one more thing. I'm assuming this, but tell me if I'm correct. It doesn't matter how old you are.
It doesn't, yeah, it's almost doesn't matter how old you are. Thank you for letting me know. You need to be 16 years of age.
Okay, perfect.
Otherwise, you're too young, and there is no
But
information
in terms
there.
of if you're 80, they can still
Oh my
possibly find a
God, we
leaf.
had people in their late 80s. The oldest was 90, 91. You
Love
can have a
it.
reading until doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Only
one of
you
my
need to be old enough. So
old
16,
enough.
yes.
Yes, 16 and
Mhm.
older. Perfect. And I love that it's 16 and older. And yeah, one of my friends was very nervous that you guys weren't going to find her reading because of her age. And I was like, nope, they're going to
No,
find it. They're going to totally find it, which
I
they
assure
did.
you, we had many, many people in their hundreds, I mean, without exaggeration, hundreds in their 70s, so a lot, and dozens for sure. I do not know, I don't keep track, but I know so because even though I'm not involved in the daily stuff of the Institute, at least dozens in their 80s, so many. And
That's
you get a
amazing.
full reading. And it's very individualized. Since you're addressing it too, it will be of interest to the more mature soul. The reading reflects where you are in life. An 18-year-old also, of course, gets a whole life reading until they're 80, 85, or whenever the reading stops. But he's a kid. All they want to know
Hmm.
is the next 4, 5, 6 years. Will I finish school? Will I find a girlfriend, boyfriend? These kind of things. And at 30, you can tell they're already checking out, gone. It's like way too into the future. A more mature person in the 70s and 80s, and I can tell so because I was the moderator of my own mom without the reader knowing that she's my mom. I was just a random person helping a random woman with her reading, and she was 70 some when she had her reading. My mom is like the uber mom. I love my mom. She's a very caring, loving human being. To her, she already lived her life, so to her it wasn't so important what they told her about her. She wanted to know about the boys, that's me and my brother, and the grandchildren. Will there be any grandchildren? Because at the time my brother didn't have any kids, and it was kind of like getting a reading for myself.
That's
Because
fun.
and your older son will do this and the younger son will do that. And I was like looking at my mom, I was like, oh my God, they know us so well, even though he had no idea who I am, but in a relationship with this woman. They told my mom accurately me as a person, accurately my brother as a person. He's my best friend, don't get me wrong, we are very close, but we're different, of course,
Yeah, of course.
we're different. And they told her exactly when my brother he didn't do it himself then, but when she will have double hip surgery, not just single hip, double hip surgery. At the time, she told my brother, he's an orthopedic surgeon, of course, so he told my mom, look, your hips are done. You need to change them. I said, oh, no, 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 no. And then, boom, she didn't have just one hip replaced, both at the same time, just as the reader told her. And about the twins that my brother will have, and holy moly, he had twins too. And So to her, so the more mature you are, of course, your focus shifts from yourself
Yes.
to the next generation. It's just normal. It's just natural, in my opinion. And so she got a reading that was important to her, because to her, the only thing that's important are the two boys, like my brother and I, and the grandkids. So if you're more mature, really, it will focus on what's important for you in that stage of your life as a more mature person. That will be your kids and grandchildren, of course.
Beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we hop off?
Oh my God, there's so much I can talk to you about. So
I
I
know.
don't want to stress out the audience too much. I hope I didn't bore them. I didn't.
No, I
bore
loved the
wisdom,
history
so
lesson on everything.
it was too overwhelming too. There is a lot to be shared. I'm writing a book, so I can already share that here. The first one ever done that. I know that through the research and the people that I know, it's very deep, because I get a lot of questions about a lot of stuff when it comes to Nadi readings, Nadi Shastra. So I finally took the time over the past 12 years or so that I started to just write down and learn myself. Of course, I'm just an average guy, but I learned over the years, and more and more and more and more, and I put it all together, and I tried to write it in as simple a way as possible, so it's not too overwhelming, and it's really almost done. All the nitty-gritty is done. I just need to put it in a way that people can read it. And my big aim was to be done for the next year's Conscious Life Expo. We will see. I'm focusing, so send good wishes, and hopefully I'll be done then. And then you can have a look at it and see.
I'd love to read it and love to see what it is, and love to have you back on to talk about it when that's ready.
Thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Q. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. What was your big takeaway? Do you feel guided to do an Indian palm leaf reading? Is it not for you at this moment? Is it not for you at all? And I do want to share this. It's okay if it's not for you. I know for me, like I have friends that are in the spiritual community, and they'll be like, hey, look at this thing, or hey, and sometimes in my body's like, no. And then sometimes my body is like, absolutely. Or sometimes my body, when I'm saying body, I mean intuition as well. My intuition will be like, yes, but not now. And so whatever the case is, trust your intuition. And if you're interested in learning more, check out the show notes or the show description. All the links are in there. And please share this with a friend. And we will see you soon, my friend. Bye. Take care.